Okay, we're holding on Dav Chav Bet Amud Aleph 22. In the article, we're on 22A-5. And we're starting on the article side, on the right side, top new paragraph. Last week, we were pretty much ended off talking about the David Melech couldn't marry Abishag because he couldn't divorce any of his current wives. And we would see how bad it is to divorce a wife. And it's very important to stay together with a wife. The Mizbeach cries. A person's whole world is over if his wife dies. It's like the base of Midrash is destroyed. So now we're continuing in the topic of husband and wife. So we're on 22A-5. Amar Rabba Bar Chana Amar Rabbi Yochanan. This is a famous statement that everybody knows. Kasha lizvagam kekriyat yamsuf. It is difficult to pair a man with a woman for marriage as hard as it was to split the sea. Now, obviously, there's nothing hard for Hashem to split a sea, but meaning that it goes against nature. The Hashem set up nature in such a way that the sea doesn't split. But to go against that is considered kasha, considered hard. Similarly, a person can see that, pairing up a man and a woman is also very hard. A man is different, a woman is different, people are different, and to get them together is a hard thing, like splitting the Yamsuf. Something that takes work, so to speak, to put them together. Now, how do we know this? Because it says, this is a pasuk in Tehillim, Elohim Moshiv Yechidim Baita. Hashem gathers individuals, right? Single people, and he makes them into a house. He gets them married. Then the pasuk says, Motzi Asirim, he releases prisoners, Ba'kosharot, which means at suitable moments. So Hashem knows how to make people get married, and he knows when to release prisoners from jail. Now, Gemara says, Al tikrei motzi asirim. Don't read it. He releases prisoners. Elo kimotzi asirim. As though releasing prisoners. Just as Hashem releases prisoners, so too Hashem, gets people together. Now, al tikri bakosharot. Don't read it bakosharot at the suitable moment. Ela read it bechi vishirot, with crying and with songs. When do you have a moment when they were freed, when someone was freed, and they were singing and crying at the same time? This was when the Jews left Mitzrayim. The Jews left Mitzrayim, the Mitzrayim were crying, the Jews were singing. Bechi, crying from the Mitzrayim, Beshirot from the Jews. And they're releasing the prisoners, the Jewish people, from Mitzrayim. So we see, it compares Hashem getting people together for the sake of marriage, similar to the releasing of Jews from Mitzrayim, Bechi, Beshirot. And so what it means is that Hashem takes extra care to make sure to put people together, as it's not simple for two individuals to get married together. Just to mention Rav Chaim Shmulevitz and Sichos Musar and others that say, what's the hard part of Kriyat Yamsuf? We explained it, Pasha, simple explanation is going against the nature. The way Rav Chaim Shmulevitz sees it is that the hard part is not Hashem splitting it. The hard part is for the Jew to believe that Hashem can split it. Right? That's what they say. Making parnasa is also hard, like Kriyat Yamsuf. The hard part, parnasa, is not making the parnasa, but rather believing that Hashem could support a person. Same thing when it comes to shidduchim. The hard part is not actually getting married. The hard part is to believe that Hashem has got it. Hashem is going to get me to the right place. Some people think they have to do it. They have to do all the business. They have to do all the shidduchim things, and they don't rely on Hashem. And that's the hard part. And that's where Chaim Shmulevitz understands this concept of kasha kriyat yamsuf. Now the Gemara says, is it really true that people get married, it's kasha kriyat yamsuf? But Aini is so Amar Yehuda Amarav. We have a concept that says, Arboim Yom Kodim Yitzirat Havlad, 40 days before the formation of the embryo, which seems to mean conception, right? 40 days before the embryo is formed. A bat kol comes out. Bat kol yotzed ve'omeret bat ploni limploni. That this daughter of this one is destined to marry this one. So it already 40 days before, what point before? Some understands to be before conception. Some understands to mean during the first 40 days when the woman is pregnant. Because during that time, a person can pray if the child should be a boy or a girl. So during that time, those 40 days when it's going to be a boy or a girl already, when being decided at that moment, that's when it calls out what they're going to be and who they're going to get married to. So now the question is, you're telling me it's so hard to put people together, but here you have a concept that from when they're born already, we already know who they're going to be. So how could you tell me it's Kashik Kriyat Yamsuf? It's not Kashik Kriyat Yamsuf. It's already predestined, not going against nature in the sense that you're going against what's normal. People shouldn't be together. People are separate. But these people are already destined to be together. So it's not Kashik Kriyat Yamsuf. So the Gemara says Loi Kashya, and he makes a distinction. Ha bizvug rishain, ha bizvug sheni. This where it says that 40 days before creation, before the conception, it's already said who's going to marry to who. That's said regarding first marriages. Ha bizvug sheni. And this part where it's hard for Hashem to set it up, so to speak, that's concerning second marriages. When you have yechidim, people who have already been married, people who are now single and they're older, it's usually harder to get them married than to get married youngsters. So the youngsters, the first person they're supposed to be with, that one is easy, and the second one, where it's concerning a second marriage, that's considered Kashik Kriyat Yamsuf. Now, the other Gemaras talk about this as well. The other Gemaras say that the second set of marriage, the second Zug Sheni, Hashem gives you according to your Lefima Asab, according to your station in life. If you're a tzaddik, you get a tzaddiket. If you're a Rasha, you get a bad girl. The first marriage is predestined from wherever you're supposed to happen. So which one is better? You would think maybe the second one is better, right? You get one that you're supposed to get, the Lefima Asab, according to your actions. It makes more sense on paper, right? In order to get someone who is similar to you, rather than, let's say, the guy is in Russia, but 40 days before he was formed, before formation, it was said that he's going to get married to this girl who now turns to be a tzaddiket, right? This is similar to Leah and Esau. Leah doesn't want Esau. She's crying. Everyone says you're supposed to get. So she cries and she's able to change it. So you see, through prayer, you could change who you're supposed to get married to. There's an interesting piece that I saw over Shabbat that says the second way to get married, where Hashem has to work hard to get you the shidduch according to your actions, is the better shidduch. And how does a person get that? By learning Torah. How does he say? Listen what he says over here. He says, whoever, as a youngster, is learning Torah, he's learning Torah diligently before he's getting married. Then his wife becomes the second wife, meaning his Torah is his first marriage. If he gets married to his Torah first, then he's going to have Zechut Torah. Therefore, he's able to get a woman according to his station in life that he needs. Masha ain't came. But the person who doesn't learn doesn't have that zechut. And he won't marry according to his actions and deeds and what he needs. And now it's not going to be good to him. So he doesn't have the zechut of Torah. Therefore, he has to be set up with somebody that's predestined, and it may not be good for him. They don't match right now. But if he learned Torah first, and Torah, he made his first wife Torah, then he gets the second wife being according to his station, which seems to be the better of the two. And that's why it might be harder. Hashem has to put people who maybe weren't predestined, but rather fit much better right now together. Again, this is there's a lot of arichos and there's a lot of lengthy understanding. It's like I gave you a little bit of a snapshot, so you get some understanding from this. Any questions, or we can move on?
Questions?
Question?
Yes. It says the voice comes out from heaven 40 days. It says the daughter of such a person will get married to such a man, right?
Right.
The question is only proclaimed for the women when they being at the conception, or they do it for every child?
It's saying when a boy is born, the batko comes out that it says a certain girl will be married to this boy. That's what it says.
It says a girl will get married.
Heavenly voice proclaims, the daughter of this one is destined to marry this one. It says, bat ploni liploni. The daughter of this one is destined to marry this one.
Looks like the daughter will be born right now.
No, it looks like the son is going to be born now.
I mean, they had conception, that's it. The embryo itself already been determined it's going to be a daughter.
Right. That's why the Torah's Chaim says that it doesn't mean by conception, it means 40 days after conception.
That means that if a boy is born, let's say, he may be born without even the determination who is going to be his wife until, let's say, down in the future, the embryo will be created who will be his wife in the future.
According to the way you're learning, yeah, that's what make that would work. Yeah,
it's a possibility, I think, right?
Yes, yeah, that's possible. That's true. If you're learning that the bakul comes out on the daughter, that says bak plani leplani. If you're saying the voice comes out about the daughter, then the boy can technically be born, even born.
He was already. He may be already existed in the world.
Right, and he doesn't yet have his shidduch until the girl is born and says it goes to him. Could learn it that way. It makes sense to learn it that way. It makes more sense, I think, to learn it that way.
But it's not definitely that the bakul comes out for every embryo, no matter what sex it would be.
I'm not sure. In the note, it says, saying that one's mate is proclaimed for information. Gemara means that one's destined mate is proclaimed in heaven at the moment of conception. I don't know. Again, there's a couple gemarot on this topic. One day maybe we'll kind of make a lecture, put these gemaras together, and try to get a clearer understanding of it. Okay, let's move on. Amar Shmuel bar Nachman, yesh temura chutz me'eshet ne'orim. For everything you can find a substitute except for your wife that you married when you were young. And the other explains, because when a person marries young and they're two young people, they go through all life experiences together and they know each other very well as they grow up together for a while. Therefore, you can never replace her. Even if you marry a second wife later on in life, it's not going to compare to the first original wife that she knows all your desires, she knows your secrets, she knows everything about you, and you know everything about her. Doesn't compare. Shnemar, but the wife of one's youth can she be thrown off? You can't throw her away. Rav Yehuda taught this to his son. He said, "En adam motze korat ruach el mishto rishona." A person doesn't find contentment, doesn't find relaxation, pleasure, doesn't feel fulfilled except only from his first wife. Shneimar, it says, "Yehi mekorecha baruch usmach me'eshet ne'orecha." It says, "Let your fountain be blessed and rejoice with the wife of your youth." There is no rejoicing, no contentment, no understanding, no pleasure, no menuchat nefesh, calmness in a person's life except from his first wife. So Omar life. His son, Rabbi Yitzchak, said to his father, Rabbi Yehuda, Kigon, man, who's an example of such a wife? that she's the best thing for her husband. Amalai, he said to his son, keep going, Imecha, like your mother. So my wife, your mother, there's nothing better than her in the world. She's the only thing that brings me pleasure, the only thing that brings me relaxation. So now the Gemara says, Eini, this is really true, that he really liked his wife so much that she was, so good for him. But we know that Yehuda read the following to his son. He had another time he was learning with his son, Rabbi Yitzchak, and he said to him the pasuk from Kohelet, "Omotzeani mar mimavet." I found something worse and better than death. Et haisha asher hui mitzudeim v'haramim. Something worse and better than death. Mar mimavet is the woman. V'amar loi. So his son Rabbi Yitzchak said to his father, "Kagayin man, who's this woman that she is so bad?" Amar loi, who said to him, "Kagon imecha, like your mother." So hold on a second. Just a minute ago, he was learning with the son. He said, "Oh, your mother, the best. Nothing better than your mother. She brings the most contentment, most pleasure, most relaxation." Okay, then he learned another pasuk that says that the woman is worse than death. And his son says, "Who's this?" And he says, "It's your mom." So how do we understand this? Is his mom was good or his mom was a problem maker? Mara answers, Mitzkav Takifa. Granted, she is difficult and angry. Ibure Na'abra b'mila. Afterwards, she comes down and she forgives and she's very good. So she's both more bitter than death and a source of calmness and joy for him at different times. This is the way the Rav Steinsaltz wants to learn, that it's the same woman, and at times she brings a lot of peace and relaxation, and sometimes she can be bitter to him. The Ben Yoda wants to say that she used to be bitter, and then she became a better person.
Nice.
What you want to say? Nice. I think the truth is, like, everybody goes through a marriage, and everybody has disagreements with their wife. It's just normal as being two different people. Like, during the Gemara, Yechidim, trying to put different separate individuals together. You can be married for 20 years, for all I care. You're always going to have different ideas of what to do. Now, obviously, the longer you're married together and you're able to have a normal relationship, person will be able to, work within that. You want this way, I want that way. I know, okay, we'll go your way, we'll do your way, whatever. And the person goes with it. To tell us that sometimes a wife can make a person very angry, maybe worse than death. And sometimes she can be also very, very good. Hopefully we'll see the good times more than the bad times. Anyway, that's the Rav Steinsaltz learned this. Amar Shmuel bar Unya Mishmei de Rav. Shmuel bar Unya said the name of Rav, Isha Golem he. A woman, before she marries, before she has relations with her husband, she's considered an unfinished vessel. She's an unfinished keli. And she binds herself only to the one who causes her to become a vessel. Because when Hashem speaks to Jewish people, he says, "For your husband is your creator." Hashem says that he's your husband and he's your creator. So we see a husband is a creator. He creates his wife. How he creates his wife? Very simple. A woman, one of her major functions in life, according to Judaism, it's the truth, is that she's able to be a mother, able to bring children into this world. So how does she be able to, when she's a betula, she's not able to bring children. She's closed up. The husband opens her up and makes her into a vessel that can make her into have children. And therefore, there's a special bond between her and her husband. Kana. It was told in the Braita, Ein ish met el ishto. When a man dies, he dies only for his wife. It means simply that the wife feels the pain of his death the most. When a woman dies, she dies only to her husband. And Ishmet El Ishto. How do we know that a man only dies to his wife? Remember, it says, "Vayamot Elimelech Ish Naomi." The Elimelech died, the husband of Naomi. So you see, it says he died. Who did he die for? Naomi. And a woman doesn't die except for her husband. Remember, it says by Yaakov Avinu, when they came back from Padan, Meta alai Rachel. Rachel died on me. So you see that the spouse dies for the other spouse, meaning they feel it the most. The way I understood this Gemara, this simple way, that the more of the Musar, the teaching that the Gemara is telling us, is that when when a spouse dies, it's the other spouse that feels it. Because they really are one unit. It's not just telling us for death, it's also telling us for life. The way a person should prioritize life is that she understands I live only for my wife, and my wife lives only for my husband, right? This way, when he has to make a decision in life, something for the friends, for the family, or for the wife, which does he decide? According to this Gemara, a person lives only for his wife, or a wife lives only for her husband. Therefore, in making a decision in life that you have to look at your spouse versus other people, the spouse should always win, because that the one who feels it the most is the spouse, and therefore they should be focusing on their spouse. Okay, that's a little muster from the Gemara. Now the Gemara goes back to the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that when the king takes a haircut, no one could look at him. Ein ro'in oto. Tanu Rabbanan, Melech, a king, mistaper b'chol yom. He has to take a haircut every single day. Kohen Gadol, Erev Shabbat, Erev Shabbat. Kohen Gadol has to take a haircut every Friday. Not just once a week, but every Friday. Kohen Hedyot, Echad l'shloshim yom. A Kohen Hedyot, a regular Kohen who works in the Mikdash, he has to take his haircut once a day. Melech, the king, is the people who take the haircut every single day. How do we know this? Because it says, Melech be'ofiyot. You have to see a king in his beauty. You know, a person takes a haircut, that's when he looks the most sharp, right? So that's when you have to look at him when he's the most sharpest looking. Take a haircut every day. Kohen Gadol Erev Shabbat. Kohen Gadol takes a haircut on Friday. Because on Friday, the new group of Kohanim come in to the Beit HaMikdash to work. So you want to look really sharp on the day they come in. Every Friday, the Kohen Gadol has to take a haircut. Now, Kohen Hedyot Echad l'shloshim yom. Kohen Hedyot has to take it once every 30 days. Now, how do we know this? This is going to come from Psukim, from verses in the book of Ezekiel, which is the Navi Yecheskel. Okay, so in the book of Ezekiel, what does it say? It says there, V'rosham lo yigalechu. Talking about Kohanim, that Kohanim are not allowed to shave their head bald. So they're not allowed to shave their head bald. Ufera lo yishalechu. And they're not allowed to make long hair either. Ufera, long hair, lo yishalechu. You should not let go. So you're not allowed to be bald. Kohan's not allowed to be bald. He's not allowed to have too long hair. So how many days hair can he have? It says, Kestom yichtemu et reshehem. They shall trim their heads. Now, it uses the word pera. Ve'yalev pera min nazir. We're going to take the word pera and make gzer shav. Compare it to the parsha of Nazir in the Torah. So we're here in Ezekiel and Yecheskel. We have a word pera. We have in the Torah about Nazir. Right back in the beginning of the Sefer Bamidbar, we had about Nazir. What does it say? It says over here in Yecheskel about the Kohen. And long hair you shouldn't let. Over there it says by the Nazir, Gadel Pera Se'erosho. He shall grow the hair of his head, long hair of his head. And he uses the word Pera. Now, Mila Holland Shloshim, just as we know by Nazir. It means 30 days. Av Kan Shloshim. So to here the coin, it says up to 30 days because they're using Exer Shava, linkage of words of Pera. And we also learned Stam Nizirut, a regular Stam Nazir. The guy says, I'm going to be a Nazir without specific for how long. Shloshim Yon. It means for 30 days. Hatam Manalon. Amarav Matna, the Amar Kra. We learned this how. It says in Pasuk, Kadosh Iyeh, that the Nazir should be Kadosh. And the word Iyeh, the Gematria Telatin Habu, is 30. So you should be holy for 30. Yud Hey is 15. Yud Hey is another 15. They have a Gematria of 30. So a Nazir has to be minimum 30 days. So since it says para, we know the Nazir has to keep his hair out for 30 days at least. So too, cutting the coins here has to be at 30 days. So now, maybe we shouldn't let them have long hair at all. Why are we letting them have 30 days? Now, Rav Papa, he's asking this because, first of all, the whole Gezer Shava is really not really very legit. Reason is, we don't learn laws, halachot, from the Sefer Nevi'im. We only learn halachot from the Chamisha Chumshei Torah, the 5 books of Moses. We don't learn it from the other prophets. Therefore, you shouldn't be making Exer Shava to it. So he says, perhaps you shouldn't let it grow at all. 15 days, 10 days, let him take a haircut. Why 30 days? According to Tosafot, the question is not 30 days, but rather why can't it be 29 days? Why are you saying it has to be 30 days? So Amar Lay, that's to him, no. If you want to say it should be less than 30 days, Ikativ, Lo Yishalechu Pera, Kidde Kamar. Then it would be like you said. Hashta Dichtiv, Upera, Pera Lahave, Shluche Lo Ish Lishluche. Okay, you have to go back to the original pasuk. The original pasuk said, it's back, just turn the page on the bottom of 22B1, you see it in the English side. V'rosham lo yigalechu, shouldn't shave their heads. Ufera, and long hair, lo yishalechu. The Gemara says, if you wanted to say you shouldn't have long hair at all, it should have said lo yishalechu pera, not upera lo yishalechu. The word pera should be at the end, which means don't let grow long hair. The fact that it says upera first means he could have long hair, 30 days worth of hair, and then lo yishalechu, then don't let it go longer than that. So therefore, you have to cut it at day 30, not at day 29 like Tosfot, but rather at day 30 because it says upera means he can have a para, but he can't have more than a para. Therefore, he has to cut it on day 30. Right. Ihachi. Now the Gemara says Ihachi ha'idna nami. Let nowadays also be so. Let today also that even though there's no Beit HaMikdash, since Beit HaMikdash can come back at any time, right? That's why we're fasting today. We're fasting Shavuos and Tammuz. We're fasting and hoping that Mashiach is going to come right away. So today also the Kohanim shouldn't let their hair grow more than 30 days. The Gemara says no. Do me the other. Compare it to wine. Yain, the whole time when Yain was Aser, Bizman bi'ah huda asur. When the Kohanim were going into the Beit HaMikdash to work, during their week of service, there was 24 groups of Kohanim, and they would each take a week. So during their week of service, or their day of service, so then it would be also for them to drink wine, because you're not allowed to serve drunk. That's, by the way, just because it's a ta'anit, so I'll mention it as well. The truth is, why don't we make Birkat Kohanim at Mincha throughout the whole year? We never make Birkat Kohanim by Mincha. One of the reasons is because during the lunch already, people would drink wine. The Kohen can't do the avodah, he cannot do the service, including Birkat Kohanim, when he is drunk. Therefore, we usually don't make Birkat Kohanim during the week. Now, the only time we find ourselves making Birkat Kohanim in the evening, the real time is on Yom Kippur, right? Not during Mincha, but during Ne'ilah. During Ne'ilah, which is right around Shkia time, we make Birkat Kohanim. Because Yom Kippur, nobody eats, everybody knows, nobody ate, nobody drank. So you know the Kohanim aren't drunk. Mincha we never do, but Ne'ilah we do. What about Ta'anit Tzibur? Like today. Today, we do make Birkat Kohanim if we're praying at the time of Ne'ilah, meaning within a half hour before Shkia till 13.5 minutes after Shkia. During that time, you can make Ne'ilah. If a person wanted to pray today, you can make Birkat Kohanim. If a person wanted to pray today early Mincha, 2 o'clock, 1:45, whatever it is, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, even 7 o'clock, he's praying Mincha at that time. He's not allowed to make Birkat Kohanim. Because on a regular day, we would assume he's drunk or he drank some alcohol already, and therefore he cannot make Birkat Kohanim. The only time you can make Birkat Kohanim on a Ta'anit Tzibur is Samuch l'Shkia, around a half hour before Shkia. Just to know that as a side point. Anyway, the Gemara says that wine today is mutar because they're not going into the Beit HaMikdash. Perei Rosh, so too they're here also. Zman b'ya asur. When they're going to the Beit HaMikdash, it's asur. So zman b'ya sharei. They're not going into the Beit HaMikdash. It's mutar. Therefore, it's allowed to have longer here than 30 days. Gemara says, whoa. Wine today is permitted. Yayin shelo b'zman b'ya sharei. Wine, when you're not servicing this, that's just permitted for a kayin. Rebbe is the one who said, Oimer ani, I say, Kohanim asurim l'shtot yayin le'olam. Really, a kohen should not drink wine even today, because the Beit HaMikdash can come down any moment. Therefore, they have to be ready to go and serve in the Beit HaMikdash. And if they're going to be drunk, how are they going to serve? Aval ma'eh said, what can I do? Because the destruction is their heter. Because there is no Beit HaMikdash, and even though it could be built right away, you're right. But since there is no Beit HaMikdash, that is their heter. Who do the Kohanim do like today that they do drink? Rebbe, they do like Rebbe. Rebbe says that today really they shouldn't drink because the Beit HaMikdash is destroyed. That's why they do drink. People today drink because Rebbe said Beit HaMikdash is destroyed, so they drink. What do we learn from this? McLeod, we see from this, a Rebbe allows it, but the rabbis, the Chachamim, are drinking wine even nowadays for the Kohanim. What's the reason we don't want Kohanim to drink wine even nowadays? Because the Beit HaMikdash can be built right away. And really Kohen to be ready to serve. And if he's going to be drunk with wine, he cannot serve in the Beit HaMikdash. Therefore, he's not allowed to drink wine, according to the Rabbanan. Achinami, here too, so too, if you let him grow his hair, and then when Mashiach comes, and it's more than 30 days of hair, he cannot do the service. So why don't you say the same thing? Gemara says, not the same thing. Because hair, you just go into the barber shop, you take a quick haircut, and you're able to go serve in the Beit HaMikdash. Wine is not the same thing. Wine takes much longer to get rid of its effects. So Gemara says, Hatam nami efsher dinayim pruta ve'el. Gemara says, we're talking about wine also. You can get rid of it quickly. There's no reason why you can't drink. Amar Rav said, derech mil, go walk a mil, v'shena, and sleep a little bit, kol shehu, and figure it ayayin. So walking or sleeping takes away the effects of wine. Lav itmar la. The Gemara says, no, that's not true. When they said a walk or sleep gets rid of the effects of wine, is if you drank a revi'it. If you drink more than a revi'it, if they drink more than a revi'it, then sleeping and walking doesn't take away the effects. It actually makes the effects even worse. Therefore, there's a reason for the rabbis not to allow Kohanim to drink nowadays. Not to allow Kohanim to drink nowadays, but the haircuts shouldn't be a problem. The haircut, you can just walk into the barber and take it. You don't have to wait for the side effects to fall off. here I'm just going to read what the Rambam said. It's forbidden for priests to drink wine specifically at the time that they are serving in the Mikdash. Therefore, all priests of a watch on call are prohibited from drinking wine during the day. Even those priests who are not on duty that particular day are prohibited from drinking wine in case they are needed in the last minute to help another family. But it is permitted for them to drink wine at night as long as they are not on duty. Both during the day and night, it is prohibited for Kohanim of the family on duty that day to drink wine, lest the effects of wine not wear off by the morning. So if they're working overnight, if they're going to work the next morning, they're not allowed to drink the wine. Or because at night there's also some stuff that they do. They burn up the fats and whatever. Now, for a priest who knows his watch and which family and what week they would get up to, so during that day or during that week, he shouldn't be drinking wine. If he doesn't know his watch nor his family, it is permitted for him to drink wine all year in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. As he said, that is the common practice. So today, Kohanim do drink wine during the day, and even though the Beit Midrash can be built at any moment, we don't tell them that they cannot drink. Okay? Anyway, Ravashi Omar.
Does it still apply on Shabbat?
What?
You mentioned about the Revi'it that considered to be drunk or something. They cannot serve in the temple.
Yeah.
So what happens on Shabbat if you do the double kedusha on Shabbat and you have to drink Revi'it?
But they're not making. You're saying you're doing it overnight. By the time they wake up in the morning, usually they're not drunk anymore.
No, one in the morning, one for Shlishi.
We don't do Bikat Kohanim by Mincha.
No, I'm talking about when the temple comes, if the temples will be rebuilt.
Yeah, so they wouldn't drink.
We don't know, but we don't know.
No, they wouldn't drink. That's it. They cannot drink.
These days on Shabbat, you have a soda.
They wouldn't drink. No, they can't drink.
But when you do the kedusha, don't you need to drink the Revi'it?
No, you don't have to drink.
For
Kiddush,
yes.
both night and day, all you have to hear is listen to it. You don't have to actually drink it. We give it out because it makes people feel good.
No, but if you are saying the kedusha yourself,
saying the kiddush yourself, then yeah,
and you're a Kohen.
So they would get someone who's not a Kohen. You got to Yisrael come and say kiddush everybody. Why not? They can't drink. They're not allowed to drink. Drink wine. If they're good during the day, they're not allowed to drink wine. At night, you can make the night kiddush. During the day, they're not allowed to drink. Yeah, you're right. Good point. Wouldn't be allowed to. Rav Ashi said, if a Kohen who drank wine goes and does the service in the Beit HaMikdash, the service he does is pasul. It's not qualified. It's not going to be qualified. You have to do it all over again. So therefore, the rabbis made it today, even according to the rabbis, they said even today you're not allowed to drink because if you do service when you're drunk, it's pasul. But if a person had hair that's longer than 30 days, it doesn't make the service pasul. It's not good what he did, but it doesn't make the service pasul. Therefore, the rabbis didn't say Kohanim today have to take a haircut every 30 days. Now, the Gemara says, Meitve, challenge just from a Braita. It says, Ve'elu shibemita. These are the ones who die in the hands of heaven. These Kohanim die by the hands of heaven for their sins. What is it? Person who has long hair and he does the service, or he drinks wine and he does the service. It all makes sense that a person is chayav mita b'dei if he drinks wine. It says yain v'shecher al tesh. Don't drink wine. Don't drink intoxicating beverage. Do not drink. Ata you below temutu. Your son below temutu, then you're not going to die. So you see, if you drink, you're chayav mita. How do I know a kohen who has longer than 30 days worth of hair also is chayav mita? I tell you how I know. Because Yechezkel, in his Navi, when he's talking about the haircut and the wine, he compares them. He makes a hekesh. He puts them right next to each other. It says, don't shave the head and don't leave too much hair. Right away it says, and the kohen should not drink. So what do we learn? What do we see from this connection of Psukim and Yechezkel? To say, just like when a person drinks wine, the kohen drinks wine is chayav mitah, mitah. Therefore, a kohen who has more than 30 days worth of hair also gets mitah. So what do we see? That yayin and hair is comparable. So it should both be usher today because they're both chayav mitah. Umina, this very comparison, we can say mashtu yayin de michle avodah. So now we say drinking wine makes the service pasul. I should say the same thing. Af kurerosh de michale avodah. So if you have it longer hair, also should make the service pasul. Not like we said before, that the long hair doesn't make the service pasul. It should make it pasul, because we're comparing them both. Gemara says kasha. The difficulty, but it's not a refutation. It's not going to get rid of it completely. Gemara is going to continue and explain why it is actually true that although you can get hayav mitah b'dei shamayim, if a kohen does the service with longer hair than 30 days, he could get mitah from Dei Shamayim, but at the same time, it's not going to make the service that he did do pasul. It's not a full package. The question is as follows. Until Yechezkel came, who taught this halacha that the kohen can have more than 30 days worth of hair? Meaning, you learn all the halachot from the Torah, not from Yechezkel. So if this is the halacha, where is it from? It cannot be from Sefer Yechezkel. It has to be from the Torah. So the Gemara says, according to your own opinion, this matter that it says that a kohen who doesn't have a Brit Milah, he's not allowed to work in the Beit HaMikdash. Where do we know this from? It doesn't say it in the Torah. It says it by Yechezkel. So the Gemara says, same question. So Yechezkel came and taught us. Who taught it to us? That a person who is an Arel, a person who doesn't have a Brit Milah, is not allowed to go to the Beit HaMikdash. Yechezkel said that. But until Yechezkel came, who said it? Where does halacha come from? Yechezkel cannot be making up his own halachot. Rather, it was actually a tradition. It's a tradition from Moshe at Har Sinai. He gave the halachot, the oral Torah. He gave it to them. Yechezkel came and he put it onto a pasuk to remind everybody. So in his Navi, he made a remembrance to these two. He made a remembrance in his Navi. This halacha of a kohen who doesn't have Brit Milah cannot serve in the Beit HaMikdash, although it was a tradition that they got. Same thing by us. Gemara Gimirla. Hachinami Gemara Gimirla. We had a tradition that the halacha was kohen can't have more than 30 days worth of hair, and Yechezkel came and put it on a pasuk. Now. Now we said as follows. Now we say when Yechezkel brought down the halacha about the hair, he said over there the hayav mitah, just like the person who drinks wine. That's all that he compared. Hayav mitah b'dei shamayim, in the hands of heaven. Hayav mitah, just like the person who has the wine and does the service, so to the person who has the hair and does the service, Chayav Mitah B'dei Shamayim. He compared it only for Chayav Mitah B'dei Shamayim. He never compared it for the service itself, meaning the service itself of the person who has a kohen who has hair more than 30 days is still okay, still kosher. It's just that it's Chayav Mitah for doing it that way. B'dei Shamayim. That's the way the Gemara ends about that topic. So what do we come out with? The halacha l'mas that today Kohanim can keep their hair for more than 30 days, and it's similar to wine. Just like the wine is allowed now, so too the Kohan's hair is allowed now, because there's no Beit HaMikdash. Okay. Very good. Let's finish up the final piece of the Gemara. Final piece of the Gemara. Let's take a look. What does it mean? He is going to trim his hair, the head of his hair. This is talking about the Kohen Gadol now, his special haircut. Tana, kimin tosferet luyanit. It's like the luyanit haircut. My tosferet luyanit. What is this lulanit haircut? Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel, the most beautiful of haircuts, the most unique. Heichi dami. What does it look like? Amar Rashi said, Rosho shel zeh betzad ikaro shel zeh. The tip of the hair reaches the base of the hair adjacent to it. I mean, the hair is cut so short that, but it's cut, not bold, that each hair stands by itself. It's not leaning on another hair. That's the simplest way to understand it. Rosho shel zeh betzad ikaro shel zeh. The Rishonim have many different explanations of what this means. Of what this actually, what type of haircut this is. The Ravad had a very interesting shita of what it was. I have a picture. According to the Sheinzels, he says, this is the way the Ravad understood the haircut. You see it, Alan? So what it was
yes.
Right. So what it was, basically, they took a lock of hair, they picked it up, and they shaved underneath it, and then they allowed that lock of hair to fold over that shave, and then they did it again and again, and that's what you see. It's like a wavy hair, in a way that the hair goes over to the next hair, in a nice wave formation. I don't know if today anybody does this mulanit haircut. According to the Ravad, that's what it was. But the way I told you first, that's the way the Rambam learned it. Each hair was cut so short that it didn't lean on any other hair, like a field that was harvested all at once. So the Ravad says the hair was cut into a row of curls, where a line was shaved between each row. So in this way, each hair would touch the root of the hair in the next row. Other commentators hold that the hair was cut in several layers that lie one over the other, giving the appearance of stairs. So there are different opinions of what this was. To finish off the Gemara, Shalu with Rebbe Ezehu Tisforet Shel Kohen Gadol. What was the haircut of the Kohen Gadol? He said to them, Se'uru Mitzoperet Shel Ben El Asha. Go take a look at Ben El Asha's haircut. Who was Ben El Asha? Ben El Asha was actually Yehuda Nasi's son-in-law. Was his son-in-law. There was a Rabbi Bar Kapara who wasn't happy with Rebbe that he took Ben El Asha as his son-in-law. Why? Ben El Asha was a very rich man, and he used to spend a lot of money on what he considered nothing, what Bar Kapara considered wasting of money. So he got upset. He got upset with Rebbe. In fact, when Rebbe made his wedding for his son, Rebbe Shimon, he did not invite Bar Kapara because he was scared Bar Kapara would come and make a whole fight with his son-in-law. So he didn't invite him to the wedding. So now Rebbe says, go take a look at my son-in-law and look at his haircut. And that's what it says on the right. It's a time it's on the right. The Rebbe says, Lo yavchinam pizar ben al shah et ma'otav. My son-in-law doesn't waste his money just for nothing, for free, just spending his money in the air. But rather, he loves Torah so much. He loves the fact, Kohanim, he loves the way they have their haircut. And therefore, he spent a lot of money to get the haircut, according to some opinions of the Kohen Gadol, or to learn how to make the haircut, or do both, according to other opinions. He would spend his money on Torah fact, such as this haircut, he would get it or give it or learn it. And so Rebbe said, go look at my son-in-law. He has that haircut. And he doesn't waste his money, but he spends it on good stuff as getting a Kohen Gadol's haircut. That's the way they first want to explain that ending of the Gemara. Hadrin alach Kohen Gadol, Hadrin alach Kohen Gadol, Hadrin alach Kohen Gadol. As Hashem, we should be able to return to this parak and to have more understanding from the chapter. We'll end off over here for this week. Let me just put record off.